So I came out to the range today to test fire this 1911 that I'm currently building, but I don't like wasting ammo, so I figured I'd try and hit something with this gun. It only has one problem though, and that's I haven't cut it for sights yet. As you can see, I've cut the front dovetail, I have not cut the rear dovetail, so this gun has no sights. I'm gonna see just how well I can shoot without any sights. I've got my paper target set up over my shoulder at 25 yards. Now, in full disclosure, I did just record a YouTube short where I did the same thing shooting steel, but real men shoot paper because paper reveals all your inadequacies. So I want to see how I can group at 25 yards with a pistol that has no sights. Let's see how I do. All right, here we go. Camera B is rolling. Camera A is rolling. Here we go. Actually, I should probably move this. I kind of don't want to shoot my camera on accident. Whoa, first failure I've had with this pistol. But that's why we're out here, to test fire this thing. That's not a bad group. I'm gonna go ahead and load up some more ammo. Let's see what I can do over 10 shots. Okay, so that first shot, I was actually holding center of the target. Everything else after that, I was actually holding on the bottom edge. So I'm gonna keep doing that. There ain't no fucking way. What? 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 I'm sorry. I'm gonna pace count this out because I don't even believe what I'm seeing. Here, the camera is still rolling. I'm gonna show you the camera on the viewfinder. You can literally see this is the same clip. Okay, one last thing, I'm gonna pace count it out, okay? Now my pace count is 64, is 100 meters. So for me, 16 is about 25 meters. So that's like 30 meters. That's like an inch group at 30 meters with a gun with no sights. What? What is going on? So let me explain what I'm doing with the pistol so you can kind of see what I'm seeing. Okay, so I had to turn on manual focus for this, but essentially what I'm doing is I am lining up all the vertices on the slide. So you see how that kind of makes a pathway to the target? Just like that. You know, and basically in that time fire string, every time I came back down, I was just recreating that sight picture and then applying good trigger control, and they ended up in the center every single time. So I just want to take a quick second to talk about the channel sponsor, Michael Scott Earl. Michael Scott Earl is a New York Times best-selling author known for a wide variety of book series of many different genres, but the ones that I'm currently engaged in are his Star Justice series of books. You can go ahead and follow the link in the description or the pinned comment, and you can get the first book in this series for free in an ebook format. It's a sci-fi action adventure series, so if that's something that interests you, go ahead and get the ebook. It literally costs you nothing. You can also get most of his books in an audiobook format, which has actually been my preference since I do a lot of driving, and I think the voice acting and narration is actually really well done. So thank you to Michael Scott Earl for sponsoring the channel, and also Bill is a big fan of Michael Scott Earl's books. So hopefully this was an interesting video. Honestly, I kind of shocked myself shooting paper there. Now I don't feel comfortable pushing out past 25 yards. I think that's a little irresponsible, shooting a gun without any sights past 25 yards. But I think this demonstration goes to show that if you're off the paper at 25 yards, and that's like a 10.5-inch square, by the way. If you're off the paper at 25 yards, it is almost entirely, no, it is entirely due to something you're doing with your trigger or something that's happening with your arm that is causing you to hook that shot way out past the scoring rings, you know, off into Neverland. And this is where a lot of the action shooter guys get a wrong idea about front sight focus versus target focus. And this comes down to one of those things that Paul Harrell used to talk about in his How to Spot a Fake Expert video. And it's that fake experts will typically speak in absolutes. You should always focus on the target. You'll hear a lot of these guys that maybe your middling shooters talk about, you know, you should always be focused on the target. You just have to see, you know, a fuzzy blob of your front sight and your rear sight and then just pull the trigger. And yes, that will work for the level of precision that they may be shooting at. Now, the level of precision that I shoot at in bullseye, the 10 ring, to score full value at 25 yards, you need to shoot a 3.3-inch group repeatedly. And if you want to win anything in bullseye, you better be shooting that 3.3-inch group every single time over the course of 120 shots with a 45 and 60 shots with a 22. For that level of precision, you really have to be focused on your front sight. And that's actually what I was doing here when I was shooting. I was focused basically on the very tip of the slide, and that way I could have a very crisp and repeatable sight picture. I didn't have very much sight alignment other than the lines of the slide going forward, and luckily this slide is flat top, so it made it a little bit easier. But you need to have that crisp, defined front sight and sight picture in order to have precision to the degree that I want precision. You know, and really you won't start seeing that level of precision being necessary on man-sized targets past about 35, 40 yards, because humans are huge targets. Just for reference, this is the target I was shooting at. This is the standard NRA B8. I just flipped it around, and this is about the size of your upper thoracic cavity. But in order to score full value, we're looking at basically heart shots. So yes, if the standard of accuracy you wish to maintain is this piece of paper at 25 yards, you probably don't have to look at your front sight to achieve that. You just have to have a pretty decent trigger control to hit that target. But in cases where you do want more precision, you need to focus on your front sight. But yeah, within 25 yards, sights are frankly not very necessary if you have good trigger control, but they do help in speeding up the sight alignment and sight picture acquisition. And this is the target I shot. Here's what it looks like on the actual scoring rings if you're interested. This would be a 93 with 3 X's. This one might be a line break, bumping it up to a 94, but let's just call it a 93 with 3 X's because frankly, that's a pretty good score for shooting a pistol with no sights. So when it comes to hitting full-size human-sized targets within 25 yards, frankly, you really don't even need sights. But what separates someone that is a good shooter from a bad shooter is their ability to shoot beyond that. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more info on this pistol. I am also currently still making and editing a national matches recap video, so stay tuned for that. So thank you all for watching. Thank you especially to my channel members and my Patreon supporters for supporting the channel directly, and also thank you to Michael Scott Earl for sponsoring the channel. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day.